I have a defence of Nicho Hynes too. Nicho's kicking, let him down, no doubt about that. But you've got to consider sometimes too. We forget the fact that Nicho was operating with 12 in a side with 12 men. Never once in the game when they got 13, you got 12. And I'm speaking, basics, like thanks, Coop. But you never have a numerical advantage.
No, you don't.
And most of your sets will start in the middle field. You work to the posts, and you sort of that's where it all starts. And every single time you're looking up, and they've got 5 and you've got 4. I mean, what are you going to do? So. I have to say that because he's copped a fair bit, Nicho.
Well, Matty, I reckon we didn't help him out. It took us 20, 25 minutes to adjust to put Steve Crichton on the other side of the field.
Yeah.
Like, that's where they were going. We should have knew. Like, Nicho, he's got those demons from game 1 last year defending at right centre.
Yep.
Why wouldn't we help the bloke out and put our best, like Steve Crichton, mate, what a player.
Mate,
he's strength to strength.
You know what? There's a couple of things with Crichton I really like. He's just about the best defensive. I've never seen a better defensive centre. I mean, Steve Rogers, growing up as a kid watching Sludge as a defensive centre, was incredible. Ruben Wiki was, a great defender, scary when he played in the centres. Crichton's decision making and is just second to none. And he's in he can hold a defensive pattern, but also he allows himself his instincts.
Yeah.
Hence why he picks off intercepts in so many big games.
It's sort of like he defends in between, but then 9 times out of 10 he makes the right decision. Like, I've never defended out wide, and I don't want to because it's a scary place. Cobbo looked like he was just shut down completely when he was there. Like, some of the bootlace tackles.
Oh, mate.
Remarkable.
The other thing I like about him is strength, like his leadership and his strength of personality. He came on the show on a Sunday night about a month ago, him and Jacob Kraz. Jacob Kraz, what a lovely bloke. And Jacob's sitting there, and he's a young guy, and we're asking questions. I'm asking questions at the two of them, and Steve's sort of pausing a little bit after answering a few, waiting for Jacob to kick in, and he's having to answer it. Anyway, at one point we went to I asked the question, Steve started talking, and we went to some vision, and he slapped Jacob Kraz on the arm and said,
"You lift.
Pick up."
Yeah.
A little
bit.
That's
what you want.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, that's what I was sort of question mark, why is he captain? There at the start of the year. Mate, he's passed every test. He's been absolutely unbelievable. I actually tossed him up. He could be the New South Wales captain when they hadn't made Jakey captain, because the job he's done at Canterbury, it's unbelievable.
It's been brilliant. I'm really happy for the Dogs too. I love the way they play. They've got a smaller pack of forwards, but they know how to make it work, to play with a little bit of subtlety. Staying on Origin for 1 second, okay? The Swaliti send-off, it was a send-off, there's no doubt about that. It was funny because Cooper said to me last week, and he said, how would you defend Reece Walsh? And I said, well, you don't compress and slide out because you make it a foot race. He's going to burn you. You've got to defend him outside in. But we see defending outside in is high risk. There's not a lot of what do you say? Not a lot of room for error. Yeah, you've got to sort of bend that back a little bit.
You know what I've noticed? When I've watched the replays of it, Matty, he was in control until that last second when he dips his head. Yeah. That turns it from, careless to reckless.
Yes.
And that's probably where he's let himself down. But, like you said, a bloke like Reece Walsh, he's that scary to defend because, as a middle, you've got to get up and squeeze him. Yeah. But then, because he just burns you 9 times out of 10, the outside have got to come in and make a decision, like you said. Because if they don't shut him down...
For him personally, what I really missed when he got sent off as a rugby league fan was when he had that first touch of the football, that first run he did, and just tapped and went straight at Tommy Dearden. I went there and I thought to myself, I turned to your mate, Cooper Johns, and said to him, at the end of 80 minutes, this kid's going to be a superstar.
You know what I love about him? Look at his size. Look
at that bush.
That's not easy. He's running to 3 men, isolates Tommy Dearden there, and look, finds his front. That's what you want from the start. See, I originally would have had him at wing. Yeah. Because it just dulls down what he's got to worry about in the game. I just want you to carry. Every time I reckon he's had a great game for the Roosters, he's been a winger. Yeah. And he's just so hard to handle. For me, Origin outside backs, you need big bodies, blokes that can leap and get you out of trouble. Yeah. But I thought that statement in that first carry, I was like, this is going to be a big 80 minutes for Dearden. Yeah. And they're lucky.
Woodsy, your big Origin moments.
Well, mate, the first Origin moment for me, obviously, we were sort of dominating a bit of possession. It was just after, I think... Oh, no, sorry, just before Swaliti did the send-off. Last play option, Nicho Hynes goes at line and does something it doesn't usually do at Cronulla, a left foot grubber.
Yep.
It just rolls a little bit dead, and they get a 20-metre restart. But from that 20-metre restart, they get a couple of quick rucks.
Yeah.
You know, Cherry Evans, I've heard you talk about it before with Cooper, like at training, when we train with Ches, you don't know what he's going to do when he goes dummy half. He'll show to come out, he'll dummy, he'll come back. But the two veterans, Cherry Evans and Hunt, they just know each other's game like inside out.
Yes.
And they just, if you watch Ben, he just keeps moving forward. Cherry goes down the short side, steps back, and he sort of just throws a Hail Mary offload. But he knows, because the combination they've had over time with Ben Hunt, just goes straight through, and that just...
That is so true about Ben Hunt, and you see him because that's trademark Cherry, isn't it? Scoop. And I've seen him go down 2 metre short sides where there's no numerical event. He just scoops and goes down, goes, oh, I'm running down a cul-de-sac here, and then just turns and wanders back in field.
Does it train all the time, Matty? Like we've got you have blokes like Nathan Brown or that trying to call the set-up plays, you know, try to bring Brooks into the game, and you'll just see Ches, he'll scoop it up. You think they're going to go, the markers go the open, but then he goes down short side, and then he'll look like he's going to throw, and then he'll just drop Hamoli underneath, and it's just like, mate, like I said, there's no number advantage there at all.
Other big moments?
The second one was, so they lose Reece Walsh. You've got someone like the Big Hammer. He hasn't done much training at fullback for Queensland to position himself to stop Spencer Leniu from scoring that try.
Yep.
And if you think about that, right, Nico Hines probably hasn't had the greatest start to the game.
Yep.
He sets up that little play for Leniu on the inside. If he gets that, could create a little bit of momentum for Nico, but what it does is like, mate, we can't score against these blokes. They just keep turning up.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
And it's just frustrating.
Without a doubt. It was, God, he had some sort of game.
Unbelievable.
Ches, man of the match. I've got to say, I would have given it to Hammer. So 3 tries, try saver, 3 try assists. Mate.
How did you get
mate,
and
give it back, darling. Give it back.
Give me the award, mate. And then, mate, the last one, I've heard a lot of people speak about it. I think it was, you know, Nico has a great kick. You know, the goes to kick for the 40-20. Looks like it's on, gets a great bounce, but they just somehow recover it.
Yep.
I think it was Xavier Coates.
Yes,
knocks it back in.
Just knocks it back in.
We thought it was out, but it was clearly knocked back in. It was a great play. 3 plays later, Cherry Evans caps, just creates a little bit of option, sees Lomax out of position, boom,
Bang. It
under
was
the pump.
It's throughout Origin history. Well, certainly, you know, during that amazing run they had of wins, the thing that turns how they turn the momentum of the contest is that kick. That early kick and chase. And what's interesting there, we'd always talk about State of Origin, you've got to play the full 80.
Yep.
Well, it's not necessarily meaning you're going to play, you know, you've got to last to the 80th minute. It's, you can't take a rest. And they'll recognise it. And what you see there is we're actually enjoying a bit of ascendancy there. I'm watching and going, hang on a second, this could be one of the greatest upsets. We get 20-16, but what happens, we almost get the 40-20, we got the ascendancy, we're going at them, and you just see our back three just... take a breath, and he recognises it.
Bloody Cherry.
Yeah.
You know what, mate? Like, it happened when they won the 8 series, right? We used to have a call Smith box. It means you'd kick, and it'd always be when they set up the right side of the field because he got a great left foot.
Yep.
But then we were sort of putting a bloke there, but then Smith, being the genius he is, he can just hook it back. But he'd do it at moments where we've got full momentum. And what it would be, right, Cooper Cronk would stay flat, JT, you know, Chambers, they just had that nap of reading Cameron Smith well, and they'd kicked it along. Mate, it took us 3 plays to get on side.
That's it, isn't it? You're going, you know, upfield, a million miles an hour in defence, and all of a sudden he goes bang, knocks it 60 metres down.
And then we come up with an error or something, and they go, mate, how are we in this position again?
Yeah, I know. I tell you what, one thing, mate, ladies and gentlemen, bring the rock star in. Latrell Mitchell.
I agree.
Got to bring him in, mate. Like,
the bigger the stage.
Mate, he's got presence, and Latrell has just got that rock star, superstar mentality. You know he can elevate himself and will elevate himself. He'll be right up for the change. It's funny, yeah, when you talk about players who can do that, the one that comes to mind was a bloke who I'm related to, Andrew John.
Really?
Yeah. I said related to, not talking to. Oh, that's melting a little bit.
Yes.